You're listening to Speak English with Chat.
On Chat English. Welcome to Chat English, where we help you speak the language the way people actually talk in real life. Today, we are building an emergency rescue rope for the most painful 5 seconds in the English language. It is Tuesday, 8:30 a.m. at the office coffee machine. You say, "I am fine," and you? They say, "Fine, thanks." And then, dead silence. You stare at your cup, your brain freezes, and that silence feels like 5 hours of pure awkwardness.
I literally used to hide in the bathroom until the break room was empty just to avoid getting trapped in that exact silence.
By the end of this episode, you will have a simple 3-step checklist that guarantees you will never run out of things to say again.
I really wish I had this checklist a few years ago. That coffee machine scenario you just described is so real. I remember standing there, listening to the coffee drip into the mug, desperately searching my brain for any English vocabulary word that would save me.
It is the ultimate feeling of being stuck. You have studied English for years. You know thousands of words. You can write complex emails. But in that 5-second window, all of your knowledge just vanishes.
Exactly. And the worst part is the physical feeling. Your heart beats a little faster, you feel the heat in your face. You start worrying, do they think I'm unfriendly? Do they think my English is bad?
And the truth is, they're probably just as uncomfortable as you are. Today, we are going to fix this. But before we get to the 3-step checklist, we have to talk about why this happens. We have to talk about the textbook trap.
The textbook trap, I love that. What exactly do you mean by that?
Well, think about your very first English lesson. Chapter 1, page 1. How does the textbook teach you to greet someone?
It's always the same. Person A says, hello, how are you? Person B says, I am fine, thank you. And you? Person A says, I am fine too. End of conversation.
Exactly. End of conversation. Textbooks teach you how to close a loop perfectly. They teach you grammar. They teach you that a question needs an exact, direct answer. But human conversation is not a grammar test. Human conversation is about keeping the loop open.
That is true. When you say, I am fine, thank you, you are closing a door. You're not giving the other person anything new to work with. You're essentially telling them the information exchange is complete. We can stop talking now.
Yes, and that brings us to our first vocabulary highlight of the day, which we already used, dead silence.
Dead silence. Can silence actually be dead?
It's a great metaphor. Think about a plant. If a plant is dead, it's not growing anymore. It has no energy. There's no movement. When we say there's a dead silence in a room, we mean the conversation has completely stopped growing. There's no energy left to keep it moving. It's an uncomfortable, heavy quiet.
I love that visual. A dead silence is heavy. It feels like a weight in the room. You can also use it in other situations, right? Like when the boss asked who made the mistake, there was a dead silence in the meeting.
Perfect example. So our goal today is to never let the conversation reach that dead silence. And to do that, let's play a little game. Let's do a Chat English Best Reply quiz.
Oh, I am ready. I love these.
I'm going to set the scene. It's Monday morning. You walk into the office. Your coworker looks at you, smiles, and asks, "Did you have a good weekend?" I'm going to give you 3 options. I want you to tell me which is the absolute worst way to kill the conversation.
Okay, let's hear them.
Option A, yes, I did. Option B, it was fine, nothing special. Option C, yes, I finally watched that new movie on Netflix. How was yours?
Okay, this is tricky because grammar-wise, they're all completely correct. But socially, I think option A is the ultimate conversation killer. Yes, I did.
Why does that one feel so bad?
Because it's a brick wall. If I ask you about your weekend and you just say, yes, I did, I feel like I'm bothering you. I feel like an interrogator in a police station asking yes or no questions. It forces me to do all the heavy lifting to keep the interaction alive.
Exactly. Option A shuts the door completely. What about option B? It was fine, nothing special.
That one is very common. I hear a lot of learners use this because they think their weekend was boring, so they assume nobody wants to hear about it. But saying nothing special also kills the momentum. It gives me absolutely zero clues to what to say next.
That's a great point. You don't need to climb Mount Everest for your weekend to be interesting. And that brings us to option C, which is the winner. Yes, I finally watched that new movie on Netflix. How was yours? This option keeps the loop open. It gives the other person a topic to grab onto if they want to. So, how do we train our brains to stop choosing option A and start choosing option C, especially when we're feeling nervous or put on the spot? That is where our three-step checklist comes in. Step 1 is the core habit you need to build. We call it the echo and add.
The echo and add. Okay, break that down for me.
An echo is when a sound bounces back. In conversation, echoing means you take the core topic the person just asked you about and you bounce it right back to them, but you add one tiny specific detail. You do not need to tell a long story, just one detail.
Can we act this out? Give me a prompt.
Sure. Let's say we're waiting for a meeting to start. I look across the table and say, Dan, how is your week going?
Okay, so textbook Dan would say, it is going well, thank you. But echo and add Dan would say, my week has been pretty busy actually. I'm mostly just trying to finish that big marketing report.
Exactly. Look at what you just did. You echoed the topic, your week, and you added one tiny detail, the marketing report. Now, as your conversation partner, I have so many options. I can say, oh, the marketing report, is that due on Friday? Or I can say, I know the feeling, I'm busy too. You gave me a gift. You gave me a conversational hook.
I really like thinking about it as a gift. It changes the pressure. I'm not trying to impress you with my vocabulary. I'm just giving you a little gift to make your job in the conversation easier.
That is a beautiful way to look at it. Let's look at another very common scenario, but this time let's introduce a phrase that native speakers use constantly, but you rarely find in textbooks. I'm going to ask you a question, Dan. Hey, Dan, how's your week shaping up?
Wait, shaping up? Like a physical shape? Like a circle or a triangle? What does that mean?
This is one of my favorite native speaker phrases. Let's use a metaphor. Imagine your week is a big block of wet clay. On Monday morning, it has no shape, but as you make plans, as you schedule meetings, as you decide what to do for dinner, you're using your hands to form that clay into a specific shape. So when I ask, how is your week shaping up? I'm asking, how are your plans forming? What does the rest of your week look like?
That makes so much sense, because a week is not a fixed object, it changes. So asking how it is shaping up feels very natural.
Exactly. Notice the grammar here too. We use the continuous tense, shaping up, not how will your week shape up. Native speakers view the near future as a moving, living thing. It is currently happening. We use the continuous tense for future plans all the time in casual chat to make it feel close and immediate.
That is true. We say, what are you doing this weekend, not what will you do this weekend?
Right. So let's practice the echo and add with this new phrase. If I ask, how is your week shaping up? How would you echo and add?
I would say it is shaping up to be pretty quiet, actually. I'm planning to catch up on some reading on Thursday.
Perfect. You echoed the phrase, shaping up to be quiet, and you added the detail, reading on Thursday. This is such a powerful habit, but there's a problem. If you only echo and add, the conversation will still die eventually. You cannot just talk about yourself.
Right, eventually I will run out of things to say about my reading on Thursday. The spotlight is still on me.
Which brings us to step 2 on our checklist, the turnaround. Once you've given your detail, you have to smoothly pass the spotlight back to them. But we want to avoid the robotic "and you?"
Yes, and you always feels a little bit like a reflex. It feels like you didn't really think about the other person. You just threw the words at them because it was your turn.
Exactly. So we're going to upgrade your "and you" with a brilliant natural phrase. Step 2 is using the phrase, I've been meaning to ask you.
Been meaning to? Like you had the meaning?
This is a great phrase to unpack. When you say, I've been meaning to do something, it means I've been intending to do this for a while. It's been on my mind.
Ah, so it shows that you were thinking about them before this exact moment. That's incredibly flattering.
It is. Think about the psychology. If I say, how was your weekend? It's polite. But if I say, I've been meaning to ask you, how was your weekend trip to the lake? I'm telling you, you are important to me. I remembered your life. I've been holding this question in my mind, just waiting to see you.
I love that. It instantly creates warmth, and you can use it to completely change the topic if the current one is dying.
Exactly. You can attach almost anything to it. I've been meaning to ask you, have you tried that new coffee shop down the street? Or I've been meaning to ask you, how is that big project going? It's the perfect turnaround tool.
So let's put step 1 and step 2 together. If we go back to the coffee machine, you ask me how my week is shaping up.
Hey Dan, how is your week shaping up?
It is shaping up to be pretty busy, actually. I have a lot of meetings, but I've been meaning to ask you, did you end up watching that football game last night?
That was flawless. You answered, you added a detail, and you smoothly pivoted the conversation to me using a warm, natural transition.
It feels much more controlled. I don't feel like I'm falling down a cliff, hoping I don't hit the ground. I have a parachute.
Now it is time to test our listeners. We are going to do a pause and reply practice drill. We want you to actually speak out loud wherever you are right now.
Yes, do not just listen. Your mouth needs to physically practice these shapes. Muscle memory is real. If you only practice in your head, your tongue will freeze when you try to do it in real life.
Exactly. So here is the setup. You are at the coffee machine. I am your coworker. I am going to ask you a question. When you hear the little chime, I want you to hit pause on this episode. I want you to use step 1, echo and add. Then use step 2, the turnaround, using our new phrase, I've been meaning to ask you.
You can make up the details. Just focus on the structure.
Here we go. Take a deep breath. Hey, good to see you. How is your week shaping up? Pause for listener to answer.
Okay, welcome back. How did that feel? If you stumbled over your words, that is completely normal.
Let's hear how Dan would answer that exact same prompt. Dan, how's your week shaping up?
It's shaping up to be pretty relaxed, mostly just catching up on emails. But I've been meaning to ask you, did you manage to fix your car over the weekend?
Let's break down why that sounded so incredibly natural. It wasn't just the words, it was the rhythm. Dan, say the phrase, I've been meaning to ask you again, but very slowly.
I've been meaning to ask you.
Notice how native speakers do not pronounce every single word with equal weight. The word been shrinks down. It doesn't sound like bean, it sounds like been. I've been meaning to. And to becomes very soft, meaning task you.
That's true. If I say it like a robot, I have been meaning to ask you. It sounds a bit intense, like I'm about to interrogate you. The warmth comes from letting the words flow together softly. I've been meaning to ask you.
Try saying that out loud right now, listeners. I've been meaning to ask you. Soft, relaxed, friendly.
The tone of voice is just as important as the vocabulary. If you use the best phrase in the world, but your shoulders are tense and your voice is sharp, the other person will still feel the awkwardness.
And this brings us to the most important part of today's episode, step 3 on our checklist. It is not a phrase, it is a mindset shift. If you are enjoying this feeling of finally understanding the hidden rules of English, please take a second to like this episode and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us continue making these practical guides for you, and it tells YouTube to show you more content that actually helps you grow.
Yes, welcome to the community. So Alice, what is this mindset shift? We have our phrases, we have our rhythm. What is missing?
What is missing is understanding what small talk actually is. Why do we freeze in the first place? We freeze because of the fear of failure. We look at small talk as a test of our intelligence. We think, if I make a grammar mistake, they will think I am stupid. If I don't use complex vocabulary, they will think I'm not professional.
Oh, I used to live in that fear every single day. I would review conversations in my head for 3 days after they happened. I would think, I used the wrong preposition. I said in the weekend instead of on the weekend. They must think I am an idiot.
And here is the beautiful, freeing truth. They don't care. They didn't even notice.
Exactly.
Small talk is not a grammar test. Let's use one more metaphor today. Small talk is just a game of playing catch with a very soft, light ball.
Playing catch, like throwing a ball back and forth in a park.
Exactly. Imagine we're in a park playing catch. The goal of the game is not to throw the ball as hard as you can to prove how strong you are. If you throw a heavy bowling ball at me, you will hurt me. In conversation, throwing a heavy bowling ball means oversharing deeply personal or heavy information at the coffee machine.
Right. How are you? Well, I'm questioning my existence and my dog is sick. That is a heavy ball. I don't know how to catch that.
But the goal is also not to hide the ball. If I toss the ball to you and you just put it in your pocket and walk away, the game is over. That's what happens when you say, "I'm fine," and stare at the floor.
You took the ball and went home.
Yes, the entire purpose of small talk, the only reason human beings do it, is to gently toss a softball back and forth to prove one simple thing. We are safe, we are friendly. I acknowledge your existence and you acknowledge mine.
That completely changes the stakes. You are not trying to be entertaining. You are not trying to be a comedian or a brilliant philosopher. You are just tossing a softball to say, hey, we are cool.
Exactly. When you realize that the other person only cares about how you make them feel, the pressure disappears. If you use the wrong verb tense but you smile, you make eye contact, and you use the echo and add technique to show you're listening, they will walk away thinking, wow, Dan is such a nice, easy person to talk to.
They remember the feeling, not the phrasing. I love that. When you shift your mindset from I am taking an English test to I'm just playing a friendly game of catch, your body relaxes. And when your body relaxes, your English flows so much better. The words you already know suddenly become accessible.
That is the magic of lowering the stakes. You don't need to learn 1,000 new idioms to be great at small talk. You just need a few reliable habits, like our checklist, to get you moving. Once the bicycle is moving, it is much easier to keep your balance.
So let's quickly review our emergency rescue rope for that terrifying 5-second silence.
Step 1. Avoid the textbook trap. Do not just say, "I'm fine." Use the echo and add. Bounce their topic back to them and add one tiny specific detail about your day or your week.
Step 2, the turnaround. Do not just stare at them after you finish speaking. Pass the ball back gently using the phrase, I've been meaning to ask you, to show them you value their input.
And step 3, the mindset. Remember that small talk is just playing catch. It is not a test, it is a gesture of safety and warmth.
We also covered some great natural vocabulary today. We talked about dead silence, which is when a conversation has no energy or movement left.
We talked about how your week is shaping up, imagining your schedule like wet clay that is slowly forming into a shape.
And we practiced shrinking down our pronunciation so we sound relaxed. I've been meaning to ask you instead of hitting every word hard like a robot.
You have all the tools you need. Now it is time to take action because passive listening will only get you so far. We have a comment challenge for you today.
This is where you actually practice and build that muscle memory. We read these and we love seeing your progress.
Here is the challenge. I want you to imagine that I am standing right in front of you at the coffee machine. I look at you and I ask, hey, how is your week shaping up? I want you to go down into the comments right now and reply to me. Use the echo and add trick. Give me one tiny detail about your week.
We will be down there cheering for you. Every time you write a sentence, you are proving to yourself that you can do this. You are building the identity of a confident English speaker. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with a friend or a coworker who is also on this language journey. Learning is always better when you don't do it alone.
Your challenge for tomorrow in the real world, find one acquaintance and test out the "I've been meaning to ask you" phrase. See how their face lights up when they realized you remembered something about them. If you want to prepare your listening ears before you have that conversation, click the video on your screen right now to practice understanding fast native speakers. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Keep playing catch, keep practicing, and we will see you in the next conversation.